In the first several months of her primary campaign, Hillary was heavily criticized for refusing to take positions on issues or to answer press questions.
Who's the better Hillary Clinton, Kate McKinnon, or Amy Poehler?
You're not going to get me to pick one or the other.
And Hillary Clinton taking questions from the media for the first time in weeks. With the pressure building, she faced reporters on subjects ranging from the Iraq War to her personal wealth.
To blunt this criticism, and to keep up with the growing Bernie Sanders campaign, Hillary has had to take positions on issues on which she would rather have remained silent or non-committal. Here are two examples. The Keystone XL pipeline. The Keystone XL pipeline was intended to bring tar sand oil from Alberta, Canada, down to the Gulf of Mexico. Bernie Sanders opposed the pipeline from its inception. While Hillary was Secretary of State, she heavily promoted the pipeline, and the State Department gave its approval for the project.
This is some of the dirtiest fuel in the world. And how can the U.S. be saying climate change is a priority when we're mainlining some of the dirtiest fuel that exists?
We're either going to be dependent on dirty oil from the Gulf or dependent on dirty oil from Canada.
While opposition to the pipeline grew, candidate Hillary refused to take a clear position on it.
As president, would you sign a bill, yes or no, please, in favor of allowing the Keystone XL pipeline?
Well, as you know, I was the Secretary of State who started that process. I was the one who put into place the investigation. I have now passed it off as obvious, because I'm no longer there, to Secretary Kerry. This is President Obama's decision, and I am not going to second-guess him because I was in a position to set this in motion, and I do not think that would be the right thing to do. So I want to wait and see what he and Secretary Kerry decide. If it's undecided when I become president, I will answer your question.
Finally, on November 22nd, 2015, candidate Clinton came out against the pipeline. The following November 6th, President Obama denied an oil company request for a permit to build the pipeline, ending the issue, at least for now. The next issue we will look at is the Trans-Pacific Partnership Trade Agreement, also known as the TPP. Anyone who is not part of the wealthy elite, the TPP is the trading agreement for power, a continuation and expansion of the so-called free trade policies promoted by presidents from Nixon through Clinton, Bush, and now Obama. I want to make something clear right now. There is no such thing as free trade. It is a lie. It is a fraud. The North American Free Trade Agreement, NAFTA, was 1,200 pages. 1,200 pages of what? 1,200 pages of regulations and rules and deals for various sectors of each nation's economies. The TPP is 6,000 pages. The issue isn't free trade versus regulated trade. All trade is conducted by regulations and rules. The real issues are who writes those regulations and rules, who benefits from them, and who is hurt by them. But that's a subject for another video. Bernie Sanders has consistently worked to oppose these fundamentally Republican trade agreements, from NAFTA, CAFTA, and GATT in the 1990s to the TPP now. Hillary, on the other hand, has a long record of supporting free trade going back to her time in the White House's First Lady and supporting NAFTA. And when she was Secretary of State, Hillary supported and promoted the TPP.
During her time as Secretary of State from 2009 and 2013, Clinton was a strong supporter of the TPP. She even said in 2012 that this TPP sets the gold standard in trade agreements.
Candidate Hillary refused to take a yes or no position on the TPP until after two things had happened. First, Congress passed fast-track authority that makes it easier to get trade deals approved by Congress when they come up for a vote. Second, the TPP was finalized on October 5th. Hillary finally came out against it on October 7th. But why?
So are you saying that as of today, this is not something you could support?
What I know about it as of today, I am not in favor of what I have learned about it. Take the trade deal. I did say when I was Secretary of State 3 years ago that I hoped it would be the gold standard.
You also said it sets the gold standard, remember?
It was just finally negotiated last week, and in looking at it, it didn't meet my standards.
Specifically about Secretary Clinton's comments last night about the TPP. She said that in looking at it, it didn't meet my standards. And I'm just wondering, is it possible that she's actually looked at it? Because I thought it hasn't been posted or been made public yet.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
The details of the Trans-Pacific Partnership were made public last week. Did she get some sort of an advance copy that we're unaware of, or did she misspeak?
The official final text of the Trans-Pacific Partnership has not been released.
Well, there are at least two issues with the timing of Hillary's decision. First, coming after Congress had approved fast track for the TPP, her decision had no influence on that vote. Second, she said she based her new position on information she had seen in the finalized TPP agreement, except that she hadn't seen the finalized TPP agreement when she said that. That is the lie. Hillary had no new information on which to base a new position on the TPP. So why did Hillary really change her position on the TPP? One theory is that she did it to attract Bernie supporters.
I think this is interesting because I think this is more of a Bernie Sanders effect than anything else. So Hillary didn't speak out against TPP before. Hillary didn't speak out against a lot of things before. Look, she's...
And Anna, you're right. It is part of a larger effort to outflank Bernie Sanders.
As a leader in the Democratic Party, are you going to use some of your leverage to convince some Democrats not to vote for the Trans-Pacific Trade Agreement?
No, I'm going to state my position, which I have.
And you're not going to lobby one way or the other?
No, and I think that it's appropriate for the congressional leadership and members of Congress and the administration to battle that out. If they want to know what I think, I'm more than happy to tell them. I've come out against it because I don't think it will meet the test I've set, which is to create more good-paying jobs and raise incomes for Americans and further our national security. And it's particularly challenging when you have lost jobs, as I believe we have, to currency manipulation, and that is not embedded in the agreement. It's in a side agreement. It's not enforceable. So I'm pretty clearly on the record, and people can know what I think, and if they are interested in talking to me, I obviously would do that.
But if you hope to be the next president of the United States, wouldn't you want to try to influence some votes, especially in the Senate, so that you would have the plate set for yourself when you become
We have
president?
one president at a time.
Remember in the first episode when Hillary was First Lady and she lobbied the president, her husband, to change his position on that bankruptcy bill and veto it? And he did? After hearing all the things she just said she thinks are wrong with the TPP, wouldn't you expect Hillary to do something to stop it? Action speaks louder than words. So does inaction. Hillary's refusal to work to defeat something she says she opposes can be poor judgment, a failure of leadership, or a tacit admission that she lied and doesn't really oppose the TPP at all. So now we have covered three of the major forces driving Hillary's evolution and changing positions on issues.
Money, 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 money.
Money, public opinion, and primary pressures, although some people might phrase it differently.
Plenty of politicians evolve on issues, but even some Democrats believe you change your positions based on political expediency. You were against same-sex marriage, now you're for it. You defended President Obama's immigration policies, now you say they're too harsh. You supported his trade deal dozens of times. You even called it the gold standard. Now, suddenly last week, you're against it. Will you say anything to get elected?
In our next episode, we will explore Hillary's long and lucrative relationship with Wall Street and why it's so important.